Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to my class of qualitative data analysis. Dear students, today we'll be studying thematic analysis and I am Dr. Ayaz Muhammad Khan, Director Division of Education, University of Education, Lahore. So here is the agenda that we'll follow in today's lecture. Initially, we'll see what is qualitative data, what are the different types of qualitative data, and then we would get through some of the techniques that we adopt for analysis of qualitative data. And then the most important one is today's topic, the thematic analysis, the steps of thematic analysis. We'll also see what are the different approaches to thematic analysis. And last but not the least, we'll get through a practice session, or I'll give you a practice task as well. So welcome to my class. Okay, students, let's start our lecture with this slide, which shows a very extensive work of Leach and Ovingbazi. They both have developed, as a matter of fact, a sheet which shows that what are the sources of information and what type of qualitative technique is used. The very first one is talk. When you get interview, you can have discourse analysis, narrative analysis, semantics, qualitative comparative analysis, constant comparative analysis, which we have gone through in grounded theory, and then I-words in context, word count, membership categorization analysis, domain analysis, taxonomic analysis, componential analysis, and then we have theme analysis, classical content analysis. Second important thing through which we get data is observation. So while you do observation, what happens that you can use these qualitative techniques like qualitative comparative analysis that you did in interviews as well, constant comparison analysis, keywords in text, then word count, domain analysis, taxonomic analysis, componential analysis, and we have thematic analysis and manifest count analysis. Then we have certain documents, drawings, photographs, videos. But documents would be treated differently, but if we have drawings, photographs, then we call it qualitative comparative analysis and constant comparative analysis, word count, manifest content analysis, and secondary data analysis. These techniques can be used, but specifically for written documents, we have semantics, qualitative comparative, constant comparative analysis, keywords, then word count, secondary data analysis, domain analysis, taxonomic analysis, componential analysis, theme analysis, classical content analysis, and ultimately, last but not the least, text mining. So as today we will be focusing on thematic analysis. So first question arises, what is thematic analysis? So let me tell you that this is a method of analyzing qualitative data, whether it is interview or observation, sometimes in written text as well, you have in the form of documents. So it is usually applied to a set of texts such as interview transcripts. The researcher closely examines the data to identify common themes. We go for common themes, topics, ideas, patterns of meanings that come up repeatedly. Uh, there are various approaches to conducting thematic analysis, but the most common rather forms, they follow 6 steps. The very first one is familiarization, then coding, generating themes, reviewing themes, defining and naming those themes, and ultimately going for your write-up. So let me tell you that it is a good approach to research, especially when you are trying to find out something about people's views, opinions, knowledge, experience, or values from set of qualitative data that you might have gathered through interviews, Ultimately, you transcribe those interviews, social media profiles, or survey responses, and many more. So let's see what are the approaches to thematic analysis. Uh, Before you start, you got to ask yourself, does my theoretical framework give me a strong idea of what kind of themes I expect to find in the data? Whether you are going for deductive or you have adopted a hypothetical deductive reasoning logic, or am I planning to develop my own framework based on what I find which is inductive? So if you are doing quantitative research, so you would be following hypothetical deductive reasoning. So all observation or interviews, if you have got, you will be transcribing or developing a theoretical framework. Rather, you would be working on already developed I put a theoretical framework. But so far as our qualitative research is concerned, usually our framework emerges out as much as we go into the depth of the data, analyzing it, exploring different themes. So once you have decided to use thematic analysis, these two approaches are used. The very first one inductive and then deductive. I have given you a full view of these both of these strategies. So there are two things, as a matter of fact, two distinctions when you have interviewed somebody and you are following a particular approach, especially inductive approach. Now what you do, you either adopt a semantic approach involving analyzing explicit content of the data, meaning thereby you are interested in people's opinion, and if you are just interested in people's opinion, so you just explicitly सतही तौर पर चीज़ों को देख लेते हैं उस कंटेंट को. But if you wish that what their statements reveal, उनकी बातें क्या बातें खोल के बयान करती हैं about their assumptions and social context. So in this way you will have to get deep into the phenomena, और ऐसी सूरत में you would adopt a latent approach. And latent approach would see things implicitly. गहराई में जो उनके मीनिंग है, गहराई में जो वो लिंक्स बने हुए हैं, ये उसको देखें. So once you have decided that for your research that you have gathered your data through interviews and you have transcribed all those data, and you have made up your mind that you are going to use thematic analysis, or you have decided that this is the method which I should adopt, then you can follow the 6 steps developed by Braun and Clark. I mean, following these steps would make it easy to analyze your data based on thematic analysis. Let's discuss those 6 thematic analysis phases one by one. The very first one is familiarizing yourself with your data. You have collected all your data by your own self. So what you would do, that you would, after transcribing your data, you would see, should I use triangulation technique to verify that data achieved or data gathered from one source would be vetted by the data got through the second source. And then what you have to do is document theoretical and reflective thoughts, do write them down, and then start thinking about different codes and themes, and store your raw data in a well organized archives. This will help you a lot, because keeping records of all the field notes, transcripts, and reflective journals would help you in the second phase. Phase 2 is generating initial codes. You have initially thought about coding the things. Now you would start coding it. It would be better that you ask some of your friend to help you out. A peer sort of debriefing would help you a lot. Then do write reflexive journaling, that you have already made up your mind in the phase first that you would do it. Now this is the phase where you will have to do it. Use a coding framework. whether you are going to use an inductive coding framework or deductive, but here you would surely use deductive. Similarly, you will have to think whether you would go for latent variables or latent concept, or you would go just by explicit. So you have to decide between these two. Then document all your team meeting and peer debriefing so that it might help you in the third stage. Searching for themes. You have coded, you have decided that what sort of thematic analysis would you choose, whether inductive or deductive, or whether you would go for a explicit thing or implicit thing. Now keep detailed notes about development and hierarchies of concept that you are developing. Now, in the fourth phase, review what you have already done. Uh, Review would give you an overview of all the things, or rather, try to look at the things in the gestalt, meaning thereby on the whole rather than in parts. Then, in the fifth phase, you would define and name your themes as per the concept they are following, and last but not the least, on the basis of those themes you would start writing up your document. And doing this, as a matter of fact, this would be the last stage where you would be uh, finalizing all the themes, uh, all the codings that support those themes, all the text that support those themes, and ultimately would be moving towards your last section of your writing. Let's discuss those 6 steps in more detail. The very first one, we call it familiarization. So in this step, what would you do? You are supposed to get to know your data. It would be better that you get a thorough overview of all the data you have collected before you start analyzing individual items. So what you would do here, that in this phase, if you have audio video interviews, you would transcribe them. After transcribing, you would read it text by text, line by line, and you would take initial notes. These initial notes, as a matter of fact, would focus on looking through the data to get familiar with it. Once you have done it, given a thorough reading line by line, now you would enter into the second step where you would start coding it. Uh, Coding means highlighting sections of our text. We have also read the definition of coding while doing if you just remember the theory development by Strauss, uh, grounded theory, we did all those things. So text I mean codings are usually text, usually phrases or small sentences, and as a matter of fact, coming up with shorthand labels or codes to describe that content. At this stage, what you would be through, you go through the transcript of every interview and highlight everything that jumps out as relevant or potentially interesting to you. So you would highlight those things. While highlighting, think of some phrase or sentence that you can give to that particular line, which has stirred your mind to be very important. Pollitt and Beck, while writing on the principles of coding, writes that in line with the reductionist nature of the qualitative data management, the researcher converts large masses of data into smaller, more manageable segments as code. As I have already told you in my previous lecture, that this is a data reductionist technique as well. So codes leading to break down data into incidents and examining their similarities and differences. The coding process is a cyclic, and you know that what does it mean? That process without a finite interpretation and researchers' effort determining the level of coding abstraction. Investigation triangulation as independent coding and analysis of some of the data by two or more researchers is inappropriate. Uh, we usually discuss that if you have a friend with you who can share with you this responsibility that while conducting interview, or suppose in the transcription of the interview, and then ultimately helping you in the coding process, it would add to your easiness. Let's see different types of codes: conceptual, relationship, participant perspective, participant characteristics, and setting codes. Let's get over one of the example and then see how this code was determined. I knew only what the name of the drug was and which disease it would treat, but I knew nothing about how it would be administered in practice. Now, if we have to extract a code out of it, as I told you earlier, that it may be a line. So, we can see that it shows the lack of knowledge on drug practical administration. He knows the name of the drug, but practical administration is missing. Now let's come to the other one: relationship code. Instructor's presence with students in clinical placement is necessary to make the collaboration of student in medication administration in clinical practice possible. Now you can see that it shows that there is a necessity of instructor supervision in medication education. So these are called as relationship codes. Then participant perspective code. I believe that patients are fully able to check the accuracy of the nurse's medication administration. So it shows that positive attitude towards patients' participation. Then participation characteristics code, another. The upper one was perspective, but here characteristic code. As a final year and senior nursing student, I liked helping the nurse to administer drugs, but she didn't allow me to work with her. Now, that shows that the senior student is eager to collaborate with the uh, expert. Setting codes. In critical care setting, I have been provided with more chances to practice medication administration. So you can say critical care setting cooperation in medical education. Step 3: generating themes. Next, we look over the codes we have created, identify patterns among them, and start coming up with themes. Themes are generally broader than codes. Most of the time, you will combine several codes into single themes. In the upcoming page, you would see an example where different codes they are merged to form into a particular theme, and that is what we have already gone through in the grounded theory lecture, specifically lecture number 3, where we worked for developing from initial code to axial code and themes. Fourth step is reviewing themes. Now, once you have done that work, you just have to review in order to make it certain that you haven't committed some mistake. Number one. Number two, you haven't ignored something which was really important. This will, as a matter of fact, help you a lot. If you encounter a problem with your themes, you might split them up, combine them, discard them, and create new ones. So, this review process will, as a matter of fact, tell you how whether what you have done is up to the mark or would lead to the right direction, or rather if you feel that there might be some problem, so you can go back to step number 1 and do it again. Here is another example and would tell you the process number 3 and 4. An interview extract is given. I have adopted it from Scribbers.com, they have given this beautiful example. Personally, I'm not sure. I think the climate is changing, sure, but I don't know why or how. People say you should trust the experts, but who is to say they don't have their own reasons for pursuing this narrative? I'm not saying they are wrong, I'm just saying there are reasons not to 100% trust them. The facts keep changing. It used to be called global warming. Now, what you see that when you say I'm not sure, it means it can lead to a code named uncertainty. Similarly, the climate is changing. Who is to say they don't have their own reasons for pushing their narrative? So this shows that number one, acknowledgement of the climate change, and the second one is the distrust of the expert. And then it used to be called global warming. I mean, initially a problem that was related to pollution and different forms of pollution. But when you look at it with an holistic view, you see its definition or terminology is changing day by day. So here, generating themes, you can also see that the three codes: uncertainty, leave it to the expert; alternative explanation. Ultimately, uncertainty was decided to cover all these three codes. So keep it in your mind that your theme title can be among all the codes you have selected under that theme. So it is possible. Similarly, number two and number three, when you see distress of expert and misinformation, so you would find that these themes are taken from the codes, and in the codes we have already done it. So you can do it that you select one code that represent a bunch of codes, or you can identify some other word as well. So once you enter into the step 5, when you define and name themes, and I have told you in the previous example, in the previous page, that you can select names from within the codes you have already decided, or you can go for some new as well. But most of the time we see that what we have already coded, the bunch of codes which spin around similar meanings or similar things, one of the code can take the position of a theme and elaborate rest of the things. Last but not the least is the writing up. Once you have decided your themes, you start writing about those themes. While writing about those themes, your initial coding plus the text on which you code, it helps you a lot, because sometimes those text while describing that theme make clear to your reader how the game was going on, what was going on, and what actually added, or rather what helped to write that particular thing, what were the statements of the interviewee. So here is a brief of all the 6 phases and what you do. Uh, Familiarizing oneself with the data. You, as a matter of fact, what do you do in it? That you transcribe data, read and reread it, note down initial codes, generating initial codes. Here, once you have transcribed, read and rereading, you go for coding. And from the coding, your third step is to develop themes. And I have told you that collecting codes with a similar potential theme and ultimately giving name to those themes would help you a lot. The fourth stage, as a matter of fact, is a way to look back whether what you are aiming to is right or not. So, taking stock of what you have done with your interview. Maybe you have to adopt an outrightly new approach, but if you have worked well within the bound or well thought work, it would lead to a good conclusion. then defining and naming themes, and ultimately producing report. Dear student, here is a sample thematic analysis. I would request you to get copy of it and look into it in detail so that all the steps that we have gone through, this page reflects all those, and it moves from coding to field, first themes and then second set of themes, and ultimately what you have written. Dear students, spare some of your time and go to this YouTube link. This would help you a lot. That whatever I have taught you, this would add to it. So, after this class, I would request you to listen to Braun Clark and Hayfield lecture on YouTube. The two things: number one, what you have got from me, and what you will get from it. It would, I mean, it would, as a matter of fact, uh, improve your exposure for thematic analysis. So, dear students, what you are supposed to do, you have to identify some of the topic for you from any form of research of qualitative analysis. Uh, do conduct 2 to 3 interviews. You can conduct interviews 2 to 3 of the similar person unless you get that saturation, and then after transcribing your interview data, you have to follow these 6 steps, and then you will have to submit your report in the next class. Till that time, thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.